Welcome to week 2 of my design journey and the first day of spring. Yay, I'm so pleased. This week we're going to be looking at my mood board that we constructed and choosing some yarns. Let's look at how the mood board came together. So here's my mood board. I've tried to collect images that reflect both refined and fun. This is the reverse side of the fabric. And what was really interesting was I'd assumed that this little flower was a pop of neon orange, but a sample of felt in neon orange showed me that I didn't quite have that right. And it's probably more of a salmon, a mix between a neon orange and a salmon colour. This is a beautiful print that I got in China. I thought it was refined in that it's got a limited colour palette. The lines are quite delicate, and then you get these just hints of colour that you can see just dotted across the print. This was an interesting one. I looked at it and I thought, what is it that makes this garment more of a refined dress rather than something that looks like an oversized sweatshirt? And I decided it was in the details. The cuffs are tight, there's little buttons, and also the neckline is quite fitted. So I thought details might be an important component in making something fun look refined. And then we've got these series of images here. And these are ones that I've collected on Pinterest. Things that were fun were oversized textures, pops of colour, and looking at the overall collection of the images, things that made it more refined was delicateness or transparency. My next task is to put together some yarns that encapsulate some of the themes in my mood board. And for my selection, I've looked at yarns that will allow me to play around with transparency, texture and colour. Let's have a look at them. When thinking about creating a transparent textile, you want to use a fibre that is very thin but is also very strong. The two fibres that I think match that really well are silk. This is a silk here, which is 100% silk, and also mohair, which is usually blended with another fibre. Here we've got silk mohair, another silk mohair, and this one is a mohair merino blend. Silk has a beautiful luster about it, but one of the problems is it's not elastic, so it will drape very, very well, but it won't maintain an elastic structure. So you need to think about that with your design. Mohair, on the other hand, has some elasticity, and this means that you can get the benefit of the shine, as mohair also is well known for its luster, but also create shapes that require memory, and by that I mean that when the garment is stretched, it will bounce back to its original shape once the stretch is removed. Mohair is very strong. If you compare diameter for diameter, it's actually stronger than steel. Not all mohairs are created equally, and the way they're spun will also change the attributes. This mohair is a mohair merino blend, but the other thing I notice about this is it's not very fluffy, as opposed to this yarn, which is much fluffier. And that will relate to the techniques that have been applied in the yarn development. This one is likely to have been brushed a little bit. It may also reflect a shorter fibre length. It's hard for me to know just by looking. The other element we talked about in our mood board was colour. And so we can introduce that obviously by adding in more colourful yarns, or we can effectively paint our own. I've selected here a variety of sewing threads because it's possible that if I hold a variety of strands together, I'll create the colour that I'm wanting. And then thinking about texture, there's all sorts of yarns that might, where the yarn itself might add some texture. These are a couple of textured yarns from Habu Textiles, which is a great place for novelty yarns as well as plant fibre yarns. I strongly recommend looking at the properties of the fibre that you're using. You can either Google yarn properties of your specific fibre, or two other resources I've found helpful are the book by Clara Parks, which is called The Knitter's Book of Yarn, and Principles of Knitting by June Hermans Hyatt. So thanks for joining me today. Next week we'll be looking at my swatching process. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.